Graham Norton once shared his list of 7 Golden Age celebrities who were surprisingly difficult, admitting, "People always used to ask me who the worst guest was. And for the longest time, I dodged the question to avoid causing offense, but now I can finally reveal who it was." This comes after Graham Norton has welcomed hundreds of stars to his iconic talk show, crafting some of the most unforgettable interviews television has ever witnessed. For years, his program has been the ideal combination of sharp humor and clever banter. It's a mix of playful comedy and those instantly memorable moments that frequently become viral sensations. His natural charm and unique ability to get even the most guarded guests to share have made the Graham Norton Show a global phenomenon, with viewers everywhere tuning in for the spirited conversations and hilarious anecdotes. It's these unpredictable interactions that elevate ordinary interviews into must-see television. However, not every celebrity has been a pleasure to host. Some have been noticeably aloof, disengaged, or overtly challenging, transforming an evening intended for laughter into a palpably awkward and tense experience. Over the years, Graham has occasionally dropped subtle clues about his less-than-favorite guests, and in rare moments of candor, he's admitted who made his hosting duties incredibly difficult. Now, at 62 years old, he is finally pulling back the curtain to name the 6 guests he truly struggled with, and the stories behind these uncomfortable encounters might just shock you. Graham Norton, born Graham William Walker on April 4, 1963, in the Dublin suburb of Clondon, Ireland, spent the majority of his formative years in the serene town of Bandon, County Cork. His father, Billy Walker, served as a sales representative for the Guinness Company, while his mother, Rhoda, was a dedicated schoolteacher. From a very young age, Graham was known for his razor-sharp wit, vibrant sense of humor, and inquisitive mind, the very traits that would eventually establish him as one of Britain's most cherished television personalities. He was a student at Bandon Grammar School, where his innate talent for storytelling and performance truly began to blossom. Despite having a shy side, he cherished making people laugh and discovered a true sense of belonging through comedy. After completing his secondary education, he enrolled at University College Cork to pursue English and French, but deep down, his heart was not in academics. He was dreaming of a life on the stage. Determined to chase that ambition, Graham made a courageous decision, leaving college before graduating to build a performance career in London. However, life in the bustling city was anything but glamorous. He worked a series of odd jobs, struggling to make ends meet, all while continuing his education at the Central School of Speech and Drama. It was during this formative period that he chose the name the world would soon recognize, Graham Norton. Despite numerous obstacles, his relentless persistence and undeniable charm ultimately triumphed. What commenced as a difficult endeavor in London was destined to evolve into one of the most remarkable success stories in British entertainment history. This marked the rise of a man who would become one of television's most adored talk show hosts. After completing his training, Graham spent several years performing in intimate comedy clubs and small theaters across the city. Those early days were defined by a process of trial, error, and relentless creative experimentation. He found his voice in a style of comedy that blended incisive wit, genuine warmth, and self-deprecating humor, a combination that would soon define his entire career. His first major break came in the early 1990s as his clever and captivating stand-up routines began to attract widespread attention. Then, in 1996, his path changed forever when he filled in as a guest host on Channel 5's The Jack Doherty Show. His lightning-fast humor and magnetic personality immediately captivated both producers and the audience. Just 2 years later, in 1998, So Graham Norton debuted on Channel 4. It was an overnight success, catapulting him into the spotlight and marking the true beginning of his legendary television journey. So Graham Norton was audacious, wonderfully outrageous, and unapologetically hilarious, packed with celebrity interviews and quirky segments. It also featured lively audience interactions that showcased Norton's special gift for putting everyone at ease. His cheeky humor and effortless charm made him a favorite of stars and viewers alike, earning him multiple BAFTA awards for his work. Following the triumph of So Graham Norton, he went on to host V. Graham Norton, which further solidified his reputation as one of television's most engaging and unpredictable hosts. His quick wit and perfect timing could transform awkward moments into pure comedic gold, while his genuine curiosity encouraged even the biggest A-listers to open up in the most surprising ways. In 2007, the BBC, recognizing his unique talent, offered him a career-defining platform, The Graham Norton Show, which premiered on BBC Two before its celebrated move to BBC One. It swiftly became a sensation around the globe. Unlike conventional talk shows, Norton's format gathered multiple guests on a single couch, igniting spontaneous and often hilarious conversations. The laid-back atmosphere, combined with Norton's effortless hosting, generated countless viral moments and truly unforgettable celebrity exchanges. Beyond the confines of his talk show, he has famously hosted major events like the Eurovision Song Contest and BBC's New Year's Eve specials. He also helms the Graham Norton Radio Show on Virgin Radio. His career is a testament to resilience, authenticity, and the sheer power of humor, which transformed a once struggling Irish performer into an international household name. Graham Norton has now unveiled the 5 guests he found the most difficult. At number 1, Mickey Rourke. His appearance on the show was a jarring contrast to high-octane guests like Mark Wahlberg, turning what should have been a vibrant segment into a profoundly awkward and uncomfortable ordeal. From the very moment Mickey Rourke settled onto the red sofa, it was abundantly clear he was not there to entertain. His answers were curt, his tone was flat, and he barely gave the other guests a second glance. Even Graham Norton, renowned for his sharp wit and an uncanny ability to keep any dialogue flowing, visibly struggled to pull anything of substance from him. At times, Rourke's vague responses forced Norton to ask a series of follow-up questions just to construct a single complete thought, which led to long and excruciatingly awkward silences. The discomfort wasn't just verbal, it was written all over Rourke's body language. He was leaned back, actively avoiding eye contact, and looked utterly disengaged, projecting an aura that he would rather be anywhere else in the world. The show's usual effervescence and humor rapidly dissipated, and the energy in the studio took a noticeable nosedive. Norton was left to carry the entire conversation on his own, desperately filling the voids left by Rourke's palpable disinterest. What could have been a lively segment instead became one of the most strained and difficult interviews of Norton's career. It was an interview that left both the host and the audience swimming in the palpable tension. Next on this infamous list was Mark Wahlberg. His 2013 appearance on The Graham Norton Show remains one of the most chaotic and unsettling moments ever witnessed on the red sofa. Fans who tuned in for Wahlberg's typical charm were met with a scene no one saw coming. Unlike other challenging guests who might appear distant or bored, Wahlberg's issue was not a lack of enthusiasm. In fact, it was far, far too much of it. He was excessively energetic, overly talkative, and, as it soon became apparent, more than a little inebriated. From the moment he entered the conversation, his erratic behavior completely dominated the show. He repeatedly interrupted Graham and his fellow guest, Sarah Silverman. Mark Wahlberg's attempts at humor quickly spiraled out of his control. And the interview took a very strange turn. In a moment that stunned everyone, he climbed onto Graham Norton's lap, wrapped an arm around a host, and slurred his way through a string of awkward jokes. Norton, ever the consummate professional, tried to play along, but his pained smile revealed just how uncomfortable the entire situation had become. Even Sarah Silverman, known for her razor-sharp wit, seemed completely blindsided by the mayhem unfolding beside her. Later, Norton admitted the encounter was far from easy, recalling, "He was just out of it. I mean, really out of it." Viewers at home could hardly believe their eyes. Some found it bizarrely amusing, calling it so bad it's entertaining, while others felt it was an overwhelming dose of second-hand embarrassment. For a show renowned for its spontaneous humor and lighthearted fun, this particular moment crossed a clear line from comedy into discomfort. Wahlberg later spoke on the incident, laughing it off and admitting he'd had a few drinks before filming, claiming he was just enjoying himself a bit too much. Still, the night left a lasting impression on the Graham Norton show. Next on the list was the legendary Robert De Niro. Though widely celebrated as one of Hollywood's most talented and respected actors, De Niro has also built a reputation for being one of the toughest interviews in the entire business. His appearance on the Graham Norton show demonstrated exactly why. Unlike most guests who arrive ready to share stories and laughter, Robert De Niro's disposition was palpably reserved. From the instant he occupied the celebrated red sofa, it was evident that sustaining a conversation would be an uphill battle. Norton, renowned for his extraordinary gift for drawing out even the most taciturn guests, swiftly perceived that De Niro's replies were clipped, guarded, and meticulously weighed, affording little opportunity for the customary wit and spontaneity that were the show's hallmark. At various points, Robert De Niro provided little beyond a simple nod, a faint smile, or a sparse selection of words, causing the typically energetic and brisk tempo of the Graham Norton show to require significantly more exertion and patience than usual. Norton did his utmost to elevate the mood with witty banter and relaxed inquiries, but De Niro maintained his composed and defensive posture, offering only fleeting insights into his thoughts. At one juncture, the juxtaposition between De Niro's serene, the show's characteristic vitality became so pronounced that Norton remarked, "This is hard work, Robert," flawlessly articulating the difficulty of keeping the dialogue afloat. Even for a host acclaimed for managing larger-than-life personalities, this particular interview rigorously tested his charm, timing, and sheer persistence. Although De Niro's reputation as a challenging interviewee is widely known, observing it happen in real time made the episode truly memorable, not for its laughter or rapid exchanges, but for the quiet fascination of watching a Hollywood titan operate entirely on his own terms, proving that sometimes the most reserved individuals leave the most profound impact. In the end, despite the muted atmosphere, the interview afforded the audience a rare look at De Niro's contemplative and introspective character. It was a quiet moment that resonated long after the broadcast concluded. Following this was Kevin Costner, whose appearance on the Graham Norton show was not explosive or dramatic, but was instead profoundly awkward. While Norton's program flourishes on rapid-fire dialogue, cheeky teasing, and an infectious dynamism, Costner's placid and serious bearing created a stark and noticeable contrast. He was neither discourteous nor dismissive, yet his steady, almost stoic presence was a poor match for the show's jovial spirit throughout the entire segment. Costner frequently met Norton's jests with a flat, literal response, failing to connect with the light-hearted humor that is the very essence of the show's appeal. The familiar conversational rhythm that fans cherish seemed to grind to a halt, generating moments that felt more uncomfortable than amusing. It became painfully obvious that while Costner's charisma is undeniable on film, The fast-paced comedic environment of a talk show was decidedly outside his element. Graham Norton has frequently highlighted how vital it is for guests to comprehend the tone and cadence of his show. Pondering his more trying interviews, he once commented, "Some people simply aren't built for this particular format. They don't understand it, and that's perfectly all right, but it can make for an exceptionally long program." In the instance of Kevin Costner, that assessment seemed to be spot on. Costner's legendary stature and undeniable gravitas were apparent, but on Norton's spirited stage, they forged a dynamic that was both uncomfortable and strangely compelling. Number 5 on Norton's roster is Harvey Weinstein. Prior to his spectacular fall from grace, Weinstein was a guest on The Graham Norton Show, an episode that, in retrospect, Norton almost certainly wishes had never been filmed. At that time, Weinstein was still among Hollywood's most formidable figures. A producer whose very name wielded incredible influence. Yet even then, faint rumors about his controlling and domineering nature were beginning to surface. On set, his presence instantly altered the entire atmosphere. Long before the world was privy to the full grim truth, it was apparent that Norton found the entire exchange deeply uncomfortable. Weinstein monopolized the dialogue, persistently interrupting both Norton and the other guests, relentlessly redirecting the focus back onto himself and his own accomplishments. His arrogance was impossible to miss, and it completely extinguished the lighthearted humor that typically defined the program. Norton, known for his unshakable professionalism and remarkable adaptability, was visibly struggling to maintain order, doing everything in his power to guide the conversation while contending with Weinstein's ceaseless interruptions. Years later, after the shocking disclosures of Weinstein's misconduct sent tremors through Hollywood, Norton reflected on that episode with a chilling new clarity. "I was completely oblivious at the time," he conceded, "but looking back, it all begins to make a terrifying kind of sense." That appearance now serves as a profoundly unsettling reminder. A rare insight into a man whose polished public facade concealed a far more sinister reality. It is a moment that neither Norton nor his viewers are ever likely to forget. At number 6, we have Daryl Hannah. Over his long career, Graham Norton has played host to hundreds of A-listers on his renowned red sofa. But when pressed about the most difficult guest he's ever interviewed, one name invariably comes to mind: Daryl Hannah. Unlike guests who might be loud, arrogant, or completely devoid of humor, the issue with Hannah was something else entirely. She simply would not engage. Graham Norton has since called his interview with Daryl Hannah one of the most agonizing of his entire career. Her contributions were mostly one-word replies, and the conversation was plagued by lengthy, uncomfortable pauses, which made steering the dialogue forward an almost impossible task. In later interviews, Norton conceded that it felt as if Hannah had been forced to appear on the show against her will. In contrast to other quiet guests who still participate in the chat, Hannah seemed completely disengaged, showing virtually no interest in being present. Her refusal to take part left Norton with no options, rendering his usual comedic charm and clever conversational pivots utterly ineffective. What was supposed to be an amusing and vibrant segment quickly turned into a tense and awkward experience, leaving both Norton and his audience feeling utterly frustrated. For the host, this was more than just a challenging interview. It served as a permanent reminder of how difficult things can get when a guest simply refuses to play the game. Graham Norton, born Graham William Walker on the 4th of April 1963 in Clondon, Dublin, was raised in a bustling Irish home where he honed a natural talent for comedy that would later define his profession. From his early years, he exhibited a quick wit and a knack for storytelling, frequently amusing his family and friends with his jokes and impressions. He later attended University College Dublin to study English and history, where he continued to refine his comedic craft through performances at local theaters and comedy clubs. Norton has always been transparent about his identity, coming out as gay early in his career, which was a very brave act in an era when public acceptance was not nearly so common. He has revealed that his family, and his mother in particular, were incredibly supportive, which gave him the courage to follow his dreams. Away from television, Norton is celebrated for his passion for literature, classic movies, and art, often speaking about these subjects with great zeal during interviews. Despite achieving global stardom, Graham Norton keeps his feet on the ground through his close friendships, valuing the personal relationships that help him handle the chaotic life of a celebrity. His off-screen warmth and charisma have earned him deep admiration from colleagues and fans alike. Today, he continues to be a dominant force in television, consistently captivating audiences with his sharp intellect, quick-fire humor, and magnetic personality. He is the celebrated host of The Graham Norton Show, an internationally famous talk show that welcomes Hollywood's elite to his signature red sofa, combining celebrity interviews with fun games and audience interaction. The show is acclaimed for its distinctive fusion of spontaneity, humor, and sincere warmth, attracting top-tier actors, musicians, and comedians from all over the planet. Beyond his primary show, Norton has delved into numerous other ventures, including the narration of documentaries, hosting special functions, and making guest spots on other television shows. He is also a prominent figure in radio, presenting programs that showcase his adoration for music and the art of storytelling. In the last few years, he has also embraced digital platforms, building a robust presence on social media to interact with his fans and share details about his personal interests. Off-camera, Norton is a dedicated champion for LGBTQ+ visibility, regularly addressing topics of representation and equality, all while balancing a hectic career with his own passions. His life now is a reflection of his tireless dedication to entertainment and his commitment to connection. And fostering inclusivity in every project he takes on.